Yeah, I kind of wish I could let that track play longer, but I'm not exactly sure when YouTube would recognize copyrighted material, etc. But for those of you who may be interested, that is Meshuggah off of their Chaosphere album. It's track number 3, Corridor of Chameleons. Give that a listen if that sounded good. But hey, welcome back, everybody. It is week 41 of 2016, and we are up to 28 total reps on the volume work for Saturday, Sunday, Monday's strength workouts. So that works out to 4 sets of 5, followed by 2 sets of 4. And news this week is actually that after this Saturday workout that you're seeing here, my mid to lower back just really tightened up. It wasn't like severe pain, it was just notably not normal behavior, and it had me concerned that I was going to break one of my goals of the year, which was to not get injured. But as it turned out, the lazy brain got overridden because since I have the cage in my house, I couldn't say, well, I don't know, I don't want to drive all the way to the gym and have it not go well on Sunday. So I ended up getting in the cage on Sunday and trying it out, and as it turned out, it was one of the better workouts I've had in a while. So on that note, you're going to notice this week a little more belt usage than usual, mostly precautionary because of that, back tightening up, but feels a lot better already, so I think it's a non-issue, so that is good news. But on the flip side, wearing a belt sure makes front squats easier, I can tell you that. So I think perhaps when I go to the Southland, I may do a daily max kind of idea with no belt and daily max ideas with a belt, because that's basically almost like 2 different exercises. One thing about Sunday's workout that may have contributed to it being so good is that I started it about an hour later than usual. That actually was not planned. It was just that I got into this heated game of chess against my phone, and there was a lot of yelling of mother and playing of moves, and next thing I knew it was an hour later than I had anticipated. So sometimes that happens, but it may have been a happy accident, although I don't think I'm going to keep that schedule because it kind of throws off my eating schedule because everything gets pushed up an hour, and I like to have my eating done usually before 5, and on this day my last meal went in, I think it was around 6, so I was like, oh man, that's so late. Oh, you're also going to notice some of my attire this week. We had a bit of a heat wave going on up here, which actually works out well for me because, as you may have remembered me saying, I've always wondered if my scale weighs me lighter in the cold, and I've always just kind of assumed that was possibly the case, but I never knew for sure. With the heat wave hitting, I decided that's it, we're going to do an experiment. So what I'm going to do is each day weigh one of my 45-pound plates, and always the same one, and note what the house temperature is. And I figure getting a season's worth of data should let me know if there is actually a difference when it's cold versus when it's warmer with my scale. So that'll settle that, and I will know whether it's actually the scale weighing me lighter or if it's just that I'm shivering so much that the calories are burning off really quickly. So I will let you know how that goes. One thing I did, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I was going to do this, was count up some totals for the year in terms of reps over a certain weight on my bench and squat. So what I did was, on the bench, I did 185 or greater and 200 or greater, and I came up with a count. So at the end of this week, I'm at 552 of 185 or greater and 97 total reps of 200 or greater. That is actually a minimum because oftentimes, like when you see here, like a bench max of 225, I actually did 205 as the last warm-up, but I don't note that in my log. So what we actually have in the log is a minimum. And with the squats, I did 275 and 300. So with 275, we're at 457, and with 300 or greater, we're at 59 total reps so far. And that's pretty cool because we'll be able to have a target in mind for next year that we have to beat. That's both cool and kind of daunting when you think about it. But I thought that was kind of fun. You know, one thing I'd like to comment on, and I may have already commented on this in the past, is just the monotony of it all. I highly recommend that you find a reason, like I have, to enjoy the workouts, because really, you know, watching grass grow or perhaps watching paint dry might actually be more stimulating than trying to watch muscle grow, because it is a slow process, especially when you are not on the juice. You know, it's basically just slowly overloading yourself by beating your previous best, you know, by week, by month, by year. You know, by the way, it's hump day! Now that's not monotonous. I don't care what anybody says. That is just great every time. But, you know, for me, I find that lifting makes my day go better. And so that's really why I enjoy it. And, you know, the results come, but like I said, they come really slowly. And apologies for the hopping around of topics, but now I'm actually going to switch back to diet. I was talking about diet last week, about how I try to eat a lot of saturated fat, and I have tremendous, you know, blood markers because of that, even though supposedly saturated fat is the devil. Something I actually did this week was replace some of my olive oil consumption with butter, believe it or not. And the reason I did that was because I read this article about how the mob has gotten into the olive oil distribution business, and a lot of olive oils were tested and were found to contain significant portions of the crappy oils that I was talking about last week, like the corn, maybe sunflower, or you know, like the high omega-6 oils, things like that. So, you know, Italians, it's like, come on, dudes, like, really? It's olive oil, for God's sakes. So the old watering down the olive oil trick, or actually I should say oiling down the olive oil trick. Actually, something I haven't tried yet, but I heard is a good way to check for olive oil quality before you buy it, is if in the store, if you look in the bottle of olive oil and it appears cloudy, that's actually a better olive oil, because monounsaturated fats solidify at a higher temperature than the polyunsaturated. So, with that, people, week 41 in the books. We're going to end with mother, the dodeca mother, wearing the belt just for safety. But it was another good week, and we'll catch you guys next time. And the volume update for this week, with the big news being past the 5 million pounds for the year barrier, and that's also a new record on the weekly volume. So good going. And 2016 goals update, pretty basic. We're going to say no injuries, even though I had that little issue, but seems to have been temporary. 10K chin-ups, we are currently at 83.34, getting close. And the diet update screen, first week on 3,000 calories per day, which we hit pretty much bang on the nose, and weight was basically unchanged this week, so we'll make sure that gets going in the upward direction soon. Otherwise, we're going to be raising them calories again. All right, peeps, catch you next week. Take care.